Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex, back with my monthly video on the best new editions of board games hitting retail. Every month there are new versions of older games or updated gameplay with new art, that sort of stuff. So I wanted to do a monthly video on the best ones of those that are coming out to friendly local game stores or online marketplaces, publishers' websites. This month of September doesn't have a ton of new additions, but the ones that are coming are pretty sweet. So here we go. Best new additions hitting retail in September. Amigo Games is releasing Bohnanza Dahlias. This is a new edition of the classic negotiation trading game Bohnanza. Bohnanza came out almost 20 years ago at this point, and it's all, you have beans, there are different types of beans in the game, and you're trying to trade beans with other players and create sets. Well, this is the exact same gameplay, but new art. Rather than beans, they are dahlia flowers. And so this is a much prettier game. The original version of Bohnanza was very sort of cute. The beans were kind of silly and whimsical. Well, this is more like very pretty. These are pretty flowers, and it's the same rule set, same trading cards, building sets, that sort of stuff, but now you can do it in a pretty version instead of a silly version. So if you like negotiation games, then Bohnanza is a good one, and it's, a decently small box card game for you. Asmodee is releasing Timeline Twist Pop Culture Edition. So Timeline is a fairly classic game at this point, where you are slotting different historical events into the right spot in a timeline. Oh, when was the Magna Carta signed? When was, the Revolutionary War? That sort of stuff. And Timeline is a competitive game. Well, a couple of months ago in this new editions video, I talked about Timeline Twist. And Timeline Twist took Timeline and made it a cooperative game instead of a competitive game. We are trying to we're all talking, we're all figuring it out together, we're all trying to place it into a timeline based on our collective knowledge rather than just a single player. Well, this version is the new version of Timeline Twist, so it is still cooperative, but now instead of historical events, people, places, things, this is pop culture. So you are trying to arrange stuff based on pop culture events. When was Taylor Swift's world tour? Oh, that was 2023. We're still living in it. They changed the date of some movie releases because of her movie coming to theaters. That's wild. I don't know how anybody could be that popular, but it is. So if you're a fan of pop culture and you're like, I don't want to do historical stuff, well, here you go. This is pop culture timeline, so you're still trying to fit all the stuff into the timeline like a normal timeline, but now you can do it cooperatively and with pop culture. Asmodee is also releasing Dixit Disney Edition. This is a new version of the popular family weight game Dixit, but now instead of just sort of regular art, there is all Disney art in the game, all the Disney sort of stuff. So if you haven't played Dixit before, it is the game that really started the whole world of this cool, really beautiful, abstract art. Games like Mysterium or Detective Club that have these sort of ethereal and esoteric but beautiful artwork on it, that all kind of came out of Dixit. And in Dixit, one person is giving a clue, and then everybody is playing a card that they think sort of speaks to that clue, and then you're trying to decide who was the active player, which card was put down by the active player. And Dixit also started the thing where you want some people to get it right, but not all people to get it right. That's a scoring system we've seen in a lot of games where it's like, oh, you can't be too obvious, and the best way you could do it is if everybody but one gets it right. That gets you the most points. And so Dixit Disney Edition features 84 cards, with each card representing one of 84 films in the Disney or Pixar catalog, from all the way back to Steamboat Willie to Turning Red. So if you're a fan of Dixit, or if you're a fan of Disney stuff, then check out Dixit Disney Edition. Plays 3 to 6 players in about 30 minutes, and definitely, a family weight game for sure. Brotherwise Games is releasing Overboss Duel. This is a new version of their game Overboss that came out a year or two ago. And Overboss played 1 to 5 players, so this is a 2-player only version of that game. And it's an accessible tile laying game. And in Overboss, everybody has their own boards and is taking tiles and putting tiles into their own sort of area, their own boards. But in this Overboss Duel, now instead of everybody having their own individual boards, there is a shared board between the 2 players. And you are basically, you're doing the same thing where you are putting, getting tiles, putting tiles down, and building out this map, and you can build it out with towns and sunken cities and spawning grounds and roads and dungeon entrances and all these different things. But now instead of doing it on your own board, you're doing it on a shared board, and you can even draft a tile and place it on your opponent's side of the board. You can see what they're trying to do, and now you're going to put a tile down to blow it up. And so there definitely is a real push and pull, a real tug of war in how you are putting tiles down and what you're trying to build out to score better than your opponent. So yeah, it is a 2-player only game and plays in about 30 minutes. If you like tile laying, then it's got 65 terrain tiles, over 80 monster and hero tokens, and a bunch of other stuff. So 2-player version of Overboss here with Overboss Duel. Exploding Kittens is releasing the game Exploding Kittens Good vs. Evil. This is largely the same as their classic Exploding Kittens game. If you haven't played Exploding Kittens before, it's essentially a Russian roulette style card game where the whole object of the game is to not pick up an exploding kitten from the deck. And so all the other cards you are playing are in service of just trying not to pick up an exploding kitten card. And this still has a lot of, it's still that Russian roulette, still that accessible card game, still that, play fairly quickly. But in this one, there's a few different things. There's all new artwork and stuff. So if you're a fan, it's very like silly, whimsical art. So if you like that style, then this is all new art. But there's also now a devil and a god cat, and there are Armageddon cards in the deck. So when you choose to play an Armageddon card, you then pick one other player, and you essentially pick up the god and the devil cat, shuffle them up, and put one in front of you and one in front of the other player, and now it's a whole mind game where they have to go, do I want to keep the card in front of me, or do I want to switch the cards between us? And if you get the God Cat, it's a super powerful card, and if you get the Devil Cat, you explode right there immediately. So it adds a little bit, this round that breaks up the game, that adds a little bit of excitement and intrigue to the game of Exploding Kittens. So, and still small box card game, plays pretty quickly. So yeah, if you, and again, I love the artwork in it. Exploding Kittens has always been a good game, I felt like, to introduce people to games. It's one of my go-tos to get people into the world of board games. And, now Exploding Kittens has a Netflix show that's coming out, and this features some of the characters from the Netflix series, and so you can celebrate their new show as well by getting this version. So that's Exploding Kittens, Good vs. Evil. Hachette and Studio H are releasing a new version of Suspects. This is Adele and Neville, Investigative Reporters. This is the third game in their suspects line. So they did one maybe about a year and a half ago, and then one only a few months ago, and then now we have this one. It's the third chapter of the Suspects line, and everything in the Suspects line is a detective mystery solving game. They just have different themes and characters in them. So in this one, you embody Adele and Neville, a pair of investigative reporters tasked with solving intriguing murder mysteries, and it takes place in the heart of the 1960s, and this couple travels around the world to document the events of their time and solve the mysteries they encounter. So if you like detective, crime-solving-y type of games, then this is a good one for you. I believe every version of Suspects comes with essentially 3 cases in the box, so there are 3 cases for you to play through. And what they do in Suspects is you are going to have to answer questions about the case, and the faster you answer, the earlier in the game that you answer correctly, the more points you score. So that's how you see whether you did well or not. It is a cooperative game, as most mystery solving games are. You're trying to discuss and debate and figure out, follow clues and figure out what things mean and reason amongst yourselves. So that's the third version of Suspects, Adele and Neville, investigative reporters. Pandasaurus is releasing a new version of CuBirds. This is a game that came out in 2018 and won a bunch of awards in Europe, and we've been able to get it over here in America for a while, but I don't know that it's actually been printed by a North American publisher up until now, even though the game was available. Well, now it'll be available more easily and more immediately through Pandasaurus Games. And again, it's won a lot of awards, so if you want it's a 2 to 5 players, 20-minute card game. So if you're looking for like a clever, smallish box card game, CuBirds is a good one. You are drafting cards from the row and doing set collection, but the way you draft it is different than other games. There will be multiple rows of birds, and then you can put birds on one side of the row if you have a matching bird that's already in the row, and then collect everything in between that. So I'm going to put these 2 down, and then there's one over here, and there's 2 cards in the middle, so now I get those 2 cards in the middle. And so the way you are actually gaining cards is fairly unique, but then it's just set collection beyond that. It's, to build this set, you need 3 birds. To build this set of these birds, you need 6 birds. You need of that one. So you are just trying to build sets for points. It's got very silly artwork. Apparently this is a silly artwork month because this is all like birds but done in like the old Cubist style, right? Flamingos, but it's all blocks and things like that. So it's kind of funny and fun to look at for sure. So CuBirds from Pandasaurus Games. Rock Manor Games is releasing Lawyer Up Season 2. Lawyer Up Season 1 came out several years ago, and this is the Season 2 version of it. So it's essentially the same game, the same mechanisms, except for new cases. So it's a 1 to 2 player game. It's mostly a 2-player game because the way Lawyer Up works is one person plays as the prosecution and one person plays as the defense, and you are playing cards against each other, trying to sway a jury and win the game for your side of the case. That's the main way it is meant to be played. But there is a solo mode here that you can play with an automa that plays cards and it has a die and that sort of stuff. So if you want to play it on your own, you can. It comes with 3 main cases in this one. There's the private eye case, the divorce case, and the casino heist case. So a bunch of different new cases to play through here, and I did have a chance to see this one at Gen Con, and they did say this box will also have space to put Season 1 in it. So if you want to put everything into one box, this is a way to do it, getting this Season 2. And if you like two-player sort of push and pull games, then check out Lawyer Up Season 2. Smirk and Dagger Games is releasing BOOoop. This is a Halloween version of their great two-player game BOOoop. So BOOoop came out, I can't remember if it was 2 years ago now, or last year, but BOOoop is a abstract game that plays fairly quickly, 25, 30 minutes, where you are placing cats down and cats end up booping cats away from them. So you are trying to put cats down, boop them away, and if you can create a row of 3 kittens, those upgrade to 3 cats, and then if you can create a row of 3 cats, you win the game. And so it's an abstract game, but it has a very fun theme on top of it, because the board literally looks like a bed and it has a quilt on top of it, and the little cat meeples are very adorable, and so it's a really great quick abstract two-player game with a fun theme on top of that. Well, this version is a Halloween version, so the bed is orange now, the cats have little witches' hats on them, and that sort of stuff. Mostly it is the same mechanisms, so you can play regular BOOoop with this version of BOOoop. But the main thing it does different in terms of a mechanism is it adds oh, I'm so terrified. I'm sneezing because I'm scared from these new ghost cats that are in the game. There are ghost cats in the game that will essentially just move down a line and boop everything away from it as it moves down the line. And so, you can place this ghost cat and it runs just off to the other side of the board, and then you can do that. And so that's the main mechanism difference. But like I said, if you wanted to, you could not use the ghost cat, and then you're essentially playing regular BOOoop, just a version where the cats have witches' hats on and things like that. So if you haven't played BOOoop, this is a fun way to do it, because you can play base version and you can also add in that new mechanism that changes it up and adds a little bit more of a challenge to the game. So there you go. Those are the best new additions hitting retail in September 2023. Thanks so much for watching this series. I do a best board games coming to retail, a best expansions coming to retail, and a best new additions coming to retail every month. I am in touch with like 400 publishers about what is actually releasing this month, so anything in these videos has been confirmed by the publishers. They say that they are coming out this month, so make sure to check them out. And thanks for liking and subscribing and all that good stuff. I am Grant with Grant's Game Rex. I can get it right. Grant with Grant's Game. Oh boy. Oh, I can't end the video now. I can't end it now.